now. So I'm going to keep them at 5, but if things go the right way for them from the NCAA, maybe they can be third or fourth team in the conference. They were, let's not forget, they were in the conference championship game just last season.
Yeah, and
after that, I think it's really open. I think Cal State Fullerton and UC Riverside are two teams that are really good. To me, UC Riverside is the team that I think people will be most interested in this year because they do bring in a new guard. His name is Jalen Bland. He's a junior transfer. Was at Murray State, that team that won 31 games a couple of years ago, played JC ball last year. Now he's back, and he might be the best player for the Highlanders, and that's including Taylor Johns, who's back. So both those guys are juniors. Johns is in outstanding shape. He's a tremendous athlete. And I think Bland and Johns can be a really nice 1-2 punch in the Big West, and maybe they can make some noise. I don't know that I'm ready to put them ahead of Cal State Fullerton at this point. I think the Fullerton Titans are a team that is really good. They have Alex Harris, who returns from last season, and my conversations with Dedrick Taylor the last couple of days is that they believe that they're a team that is on the rise, and they're not going to be playing quite as fast as before, but they are much more physical. They brought in a bunch of big guys, a bunch of great rebounders that are guys that are going to go body inside, and the Titans are going to be a physical and tough team. So what's that take me to? What am I, like 6 or 7?
I think you're at 7, yeah.
I think it's maybe Cal Poly is that next team that gets in there, and then I think Hawaii, unless somehow they're able to correct their situation there. I just think that the task for Benji Taylor is too great for this team to stay out of the cellar.
Yeah, I mean, Hawaii's always been a team that struggled when coming to the mainland, and unfortunately for Hawaii, every single road game that they have in the Big West is on the mainland. Trent Schlom from the Big West on ESPN3. Appreciate the insight, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good, buddy. Thanks for having me.
No problem.
Your presentation of National Sports is brought to you by Spreaker.com. Broadcast and listen to news, radio, and music with one low monthly rate. Your show will be right back after this word from your local stations. You can contact National Sports in a number of ways, through Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with the label National Sports. We love to have you guys a part of our show and can easily join us also through text or call. You're listening to the National Sports radio station on Spreaker.com. America's pastime of baseball is changing as we know it into a sport we've never seen before. Where is the game headed in the next few years? Major League correspondent Cameron Sadeghi has the answer to that question next on the National Sports radio station from Los Angeles, California.
Welcome back into the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Show right here on Spreaker.com's own National Sports. It is the final segment of the evening, and thank you once again to Trent Schlom of the ESPN3 Big West Men's Basketball broadcast for joining us here on the Long Beach State Men's Basketball Season Preview Show. He broke down the conference to you. Now I'm going to try and do the same thing. Like I kind of talked with him about, I just see Irvine as the best team, and it pains me to say that, you know, being a Long Beach State person, but I just think Irvine has the depth and just the weapons at every single position to be dominant in this conference. Now, I'm not talking about Casper Ware, Larry Anderson, Eugene Phelps, T.J. Robinson, Edis Diversevic, James Ennis, that tournament team from 2012. I'm not talking about that type of dominant, but you know they went 13-3 in the conference last year. What's to say they can't do that again? Maybe even improve upon that. I mean, this is a team that brings back the reigning freshman player of the year, like Trent mentioned, and Luke Nelson. They got big 7'6" Mamadou Enchai. They still got Will Davis, who's one of the most dominant post players in the Big West. Dominique Dunning, a transfer from New Mexico. They bring in another guy who's 7'1" from Greece. I mean, Alex Young as well. at the point guard position. So this is a team that I think has not a single excuse to not win the Big West and get into the NCAA tournament. And as you take a look at their non-conference schedule, it's tough, but it's not Long Beach tough. Like I said, they open against Division III scrub Chapman. No disrespect to Chapman, but I mean, it's Division III school. Come on. Then they play host to Pacific, former Big West member. They go to number 2 Arizona. They go to St. Mary's up north. Go to LMU. Go to Fresno. They host Sacramento State. They host UT Arlington. They go to Morgan State. They play Bradley out of the Missouri Valley Conference at a neutral site. Then they go play at Oregon again like they did last year, and then they close out the non-conference slate at New Mexico. So, I mean, it's a decent test for them. They'll probably, and they should, come into the conference slate over 500, and, hey, they open up against Long Beach at their place January 8th. I think they've already started selling tickets for that, so you better go pick yours up. I better go pick mine up. Look, this is a team that has the depth, like I said, and they have the talent. They have the big 7'6" guy in the paint. They have Nelson, who I think is going to be the best shooter in the conference this year. Alex Young, a very quick point guard, averaged almost 5 assists per game last year. He can score as well. I mean, just top to bottom. I don't need to go over all the names again for UC Irvine, kind of like I just did, but no excuses, in my opinion, if UC Irvine can stay healthy to win the conference. So I got them finishing first. I do have Long Beach State finishing second. I mean, we've talked this entire show about Long Beach State. We know what we're going to get from Long Beach State, kind of, not really. We know what Long Beach State is going to put out on the floor, rather. We know what guys are going to be out there. We know what some of them can do. We don't know what some of them can't do. Can do. Whatever. We don't know what Eric McKnight's going to produce for us. We don't know how the freshmen are going to fare in their first ever season at the Division I level. We'll see. Travis Hammond's a full season at D1. Branford Jones, you'd expect his minutes to go up. I've heard some rumblings that Charles Lockett's going to get some minutes off the bench too, so we'll see. But I do think Long Beach State will finish second. UC Santa Barbara, I got them finishing third. Cal State Northridge, I have them finishing fourth. I would have had them finishing higher, but there's a guy by the name of Amir Garnett, transfer from St. John's, 4-star kid coming out of high school. He was supposed to be a tremendous talent for them moving forward, but he's a fantastic baseball player as well. So he decided to stick to baseball. Good for him. Good for Long Beach. So I got Cal State Northridge finishing fourth. A lot of talent still coming back. The only guy they lost off of last year's roster was Green, who absolutely killed Long Beach State in that elimination game at the Honda Center. Fifth, Cal Poly, defending champs, caught fire. They went 14-20 last year and made the NCAA tournament. Crazy, 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 crazy. After Cal Poly in the number 6 slot, UC Davis, a lot of talent coming back. Injuries beleaguered them last year. Hawkins might be the best scorer in the conference. I have him at 6. At 7, UC Riverside, Cal State Fullerton. What you gonna do? I'd like to say neither. I'll go Riverside. Trent has me convinced that they're better this year. I'll leave it at that. Taylor Johns, good talent, fine talent. I think that's a program that's slowly but surely on the way up, but don't expect them to make some noise for quite a while. Cal State Fullerton, I think they're on the way up a little bit. I mean, they beat Long Beach last year. But their leading scorer no longer with them. Alex Harris comes back. He's a quick point guard. He's fun to watch. But they lost Williams, off of last year's team. He was their leading scorer at 17.4 points per game. That's going to hurt them. They failed to bring in their highly touted freshman small forward that they signed, Freeman, at a Sarah High School in Gardena. So, Fullerton, I have them sliding in at second to last in conference. And I can't help but agree with Trent that Hawaii, with everything that's going on over there, sure, they got some talent, but they had some guys transfer out. Isaac Fotu's not there anymore. Big culture shock over there in Hawaii. I'd be surprised if they won a road game in the Big West Conference this year. And they'll probably split their home slate, if that. It's a good conference this year. It's probably not a conference that's going to get two teams into the NCAA tournament. It could, but either Long Beach, Santa Barbara, or Irvine, they'll have to play out of their minds in the non-conference slate to even be considered as an at-large team, and then obviously go on to lose in the conference tournament. So that's how I have it. Irvine, Long Beach, Santa Barbara, Northridge, Cal Poly, UC Davis, UC Riverside, Cal State, Fullerton, and then Hawaii. That's how I have it. I'll probably be wrong. I'm not really great when it comes to standings and stuff like that. That's just not me. I'd rather tell you how I think Long Beach is going to do in the non-conference. So how about I do that before we wrap up the show? I put together a little list here. I put together my scenario and the worst-case scenario for Long Beach in the non-conference slate. Long Beach, they'll play in 16 non-conference games this season before conference play begins at the beginning of January. January 8th, to be exact. Save the date. They open up at BYU. I have that as a loss. I have them beating San Francisco State. It'd be pretty scary if I didn't have them beating San Francisco State. I have them beating Xavier on the road, which would be a big win for the program and make it 2 consecutive wins over Xavier. Remember, they beat them back in 2011 in Hawaii at the Rainbow Warrior Classic or something like that. Or the Hawaiian Airlines Classic. Who knows? Things are called funny stuff nowadays. I have them beating Kansas State at home. Kansas State, young team, early in the season, on the road, West Coast. I don't see Kansas State pulling out the victory. I don't see Long Beach State winning at UCLA. I think maybe at a neutral site, Long Beach can win. UCLA, another program with a lot of question marks coming into the season. I just think talent and depth will be the end of Long Beach State in that game. I have Long Beach State beating Western Michigan to open up the Wooden Legacy. And then I have Long Beach splitting the next 2 because they're guaranteed 3 games in that tournament. So I have Long Beach State going 2-1 there. I have Long Beach State winning at home against Nevada, a team that they beat on the road last year. I have Long Beach State avenging their loss of 2 seasons ago on the road at Stephen F. Austin. And I have a little losing streak, a little 2-game losing streak. I don't see Long Beach State winning down at SDSU. I don't see Long Beach State winning against Texas on the road, ranked number 10 in the nation are the Longhorns. San Diego State number 16. I see them winning at St. John's. I really do. Then out on the East Coast, they'll lose 2 more at number 23 Syracuse, at number 8 Louisville. And then they'll finish up the non-conference slate with a win against Division II Fresno Pacific. Didn't even know that there was a school called Fresno Pacific until Long Beach came out with their schedule. So that means I have the 49ers going 9-7. But that's my scenario. I'm slightly biased. Let's take a look at the worst case scenario. In my opinion, this is kind of, once again, my scenario. So I guess we'll call it my worst case scenario. My worst case scenario is that Long Beach State goes 3-13 in the non-conference with wins against the 2 Division I schools, San Francisco State and Fresno Pacific, along with 1 win in the Wooden Legacy. It's possible. I mean, this was a team that started 1-9 last year, so as bad as 3-13 sounds, it's,